I know that this is not very tactical stuff to use when you're acquiring fucking I'm not the smartest when it comes to enticing people to want to watch videos in a peaceful manner, but oh well. I've dumped 3 on you in a matter of 2 days, but this one's just a little more. I guess it's light-hearted, but I'm going to be blasting Marxism hard, so not really. What now? Oh, I don't know how to bloody do things, I swear to God. Fucking hell. There we go. View on YouTube. You. Put you, paste you there. Are people gonna come? Oh, hello, welcome. Ah, no, disappeared. I can't start it, there's just 0 people here. Oh, waiting for somebody to come. At least if one person comes, then let's see. Fuck. Come on, someone's gonna join at some point. There's Marxists who not just right wingers, there's Marxists. Speak like these. Especially this. I hope no one's joined and left while I've been silent typing. Anyone around gonna come and join? Waiting for another soul. Waiting for another soul. Waiting for another soul. Banana. Oh, come on. If it comes to 10 minutes and no one comes, I'm just gonna go and do the video anyway. Just without an audience, it's gonna seem weird. Because it's like recording, but I don't really do recordings, do I? So, Ganta. Come on. Surely there's someone live. Hello. Welcome. Who might be with us? Although you may have already said something in the chat, it's just doing the delay that it always does. No. Okay, what's it? This video we're gonna be looking at a video by PragerU on the helmet. Oh, it's you, Dr. Novia. Hey, we're gonna be comparing it to not just the right, the left, but there's also, funnily enough, when I remember looking into this video, there's sources in this video that basically contradict what the video is saying. Like when you actually look to the in-depth with the sources, they just quoted what suits them and made their stinky little unmarked graphs. But welcome to the abyss, Dark Synovia. I mean, what's it? If you want, you can come on with me, Dark. What's it? Should get things lined up. No, go away, Skype. You bane of my existence. Oh, wrong thing to full screen. One. Then, what's it? Share screen. Don't ask these tips again. Chrome tab. What's it? Share. Sure, alright then, I'll send you the link, mate. Sorry, I am being a bit of a slow one. Brain, there we are, there you go. Paste. No, that's the YouTube link. I know what I'm doing, I promise. Oh, shit. Okay, now. Fucking, what's it? Just flashed me in, what's it? SMG John doing the meme. His, real name is Barack the Rock Johnson. Okay. Dark Synovia. Paste. Enter. I definitely know what I'm doing with this stuff. I think I'll probably take notes while I watch it first time. Think about it. Oh yeah, I need to pull you in, don't I? What? Fucking hell. Do 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 do. Fuck. If you're still the one viewer that's watching Dark Synovia, is the sound working?
Let's start with a couple facts. First, the word itself is misleading. Homelessness is not primarily a housing problem, it's a human problem. The primary drivers of homelessness are drug addiction and debt.
Is that loud enough? Oh, he's gone. He's joining. Actually, I can just go on the stream, can't I? Still. Oh, the. No, that's bare quiet. Okay, I'm gonna have to fucking make sure I mute myself when I play it, because otherwise I'll echo. What's the ground? Can you send me this? Can you send me this on it? I did the one big stream mistake and I showed the fucking link on the fucking screen. What's it? I trust the people of there. No, yeah, I noticed myself that the volume was crap. I fucking delaying things. I've turned it up now, so it should be
Mental illness.
loud enough.
According to data from UCLA's
I've turned it up now, so it should be
mental illness.
loud enough.
According to data from UCLA's
Okay, that's wicked. Oh no, not 0.
California Policy Lab.
I don't know which model to have. We have that one. I need to fucking what's it? Should have downloaded it as a video file and just projected it. I'd have been easier. Stop me doxing myself all the time. What's taking you so long? Oh, it's just me being blind now. Ah, hello.
All right. What's up?
Welcome. I'm just gonna go for a piss real quick because I haven't pissed since the start of the other stream, and I was going for nearly 2 hours. So
How many people are watching us?
0 right now, but what's it? I just thought I would do this to lighten myself up a bit after the really depressing stream of talking about the struggle of Arizona people. Hits me hard, that stuff does, and fucking thought I'd somewhat lighten it up. It's not really going to be entirely lightening because it's going to be me getting fucking pissy at people, not just right but left. Everyone thinks it's just going to be like taking a piss out of PragerU. No, PragerU is saying things you hear some left people say, but I'm just going to go for a quick piss. Be right back. Intermission. Oh, there's a viewer. Hello.
It is Prager University, after all. Can you expect these fascists not to have something against the homeless?
I mean, I expect them to have respect. Hello, Comrade Gerard. How you doing, mate?
I mean, they literally platform Holocaust deniers, so this doesn't shock me.
I'm hoping my master volume doesn't affect the 20 should be right. Yeah, no, I mean, it's like what I was talking about in the last stream about how we've got not just like, I mean, look at the, it's not just people like PragerU that provide a lot of all this Holocaust denialism and other stuff like that. We've got Jewish Defense League working with fucking the National Socialist movement. But, I need to take my tablet. Where's my tablets? Where's my bloody tablets? There it is. Don't take my precapula. I'm getting agonizing pain.
You have fascists who claim to be leftists who want to push a red brown, and then you have fascists, openly fascists, in Prager University.
Mm-hmm.
Prager University doesn't appeal to anyone but middle class. It doesn't.
Exactly. And this is where a lot of the criticism in this video is going to go. Going to be going in direction of the middle class. It's quite good to know that you're doing well, Jawad. That's it.
I have a question on the share feature. Did you click the thing, the thing in the icon where it shares the audio?
Or it shows us too. Oh wait. I did because I've checked it. It's because I had the volume turned down because it's really loud for me. But I'm gonna suffer so people can still hear it. But I'll do another check for Jawad. Tell me if this is loud enough.
A couple facts. First, the word itself is misleading. Homelessness is not primarily a housing problem.
I can hear
volume good on that, Jawad.
Yes.
I mean, if you can hear it, it should be good for them as well, but I'm just making sure.
I'd probably up the volume just a little bit.
I can't without. Oh, actually, I could maybe. I'm just making sure because I can't control your volume separately because there's no separate things for Google Chrome. It's good. Yeah, good stuff then. All right, then let's. Wow, actually, 1 second. Fuck. This is like the last stream. What's it? You guys didn't see the start of the last stream, I don't think, but if you did, you would have saw how much of a scramble I was trying to get myself ready.
I was asleep in the last stream.
Fair play. I play pretty big part in that.
Yeah.
No, the last stream was a good stream. You should give it a watch when you get the chance. Good stuff.
I will.
And it saves you having to read the Arizona. Like, you only have to read the non-Arizona parts of Pacquiao at that point. But I'm going to be talking about Pacquiao's non-Arizona stuff at another point anyway. But next stream I'm doing on the Arizona struggle is going to be me. So I'm going to convene with Net once these holidays are over. It's good you can hear us too as well. Thanks for the information, comrade. I'm going to speak with Comrade Net about what I can and cannot say and what I cannot like publish out to the public and what needs to be just spoken to, what can be spoken to and given written material, etc., whose names I can use, what monikers I should use for those names I can't use. And then once I've figured that out, I'll be coming in with testimonies. This is the voices of people who have been involved in this shit, people who have seen this shit go down for long times in their life, and it's gonna be mental. Hopefully, I think it's only like a week that he's gonna be away, so hopefully I will get in touch with him very soon and we can get that thing out. I'll be starting the video in a second.
It was a good thing I delayed the Star Wars stream, actually, because it would have, it intervened with your streams. So it's a good thing.
You stole my thunder.
Yeah.
No, it's good stuff. I mean, what's it? I'm fucking glad that I've got comrades like you that help promote my words out there. This is the good thing about the Lumpen comrades, the MRN, is we stick out for each other and we're fucking. We know how the world is compared to a lot of other people who try and get involved in this media stuff because we've grown up lower class, we've lived our lives lower class, we're essentially to the average aristocrat we're just some bummy bagheads. Like, essentially, I mean, the Jordan doesn't even do drugs, but they'll still see him as some bummy baghead. Not trying to say any offense to any of me or you or
I personally take advantage of the fact that people underestimate me because of my class and my disability. I use that to my advantage.
I don't get really much of an advantage. I just get in arguments or the horrible treatment where they'll turn around to you and be like, "You're one of the different ones. Why are you even where you're at? You're special compared to..." Like, they treat you like you're some sort of like random fucking petal off the bush. When what's it? Some of the smartest people I've spoken to in the Lumpen fucking aren't the most articulate with their words. That's the way I'll put it. They don't matter about the way that they're speaking. It's about the words that they speak. That's it. Fucking many people have struggled, from fucking Fred Hampton to fucking Malcolm X and other people like that have turned around and said that you've got to be fucking onto truth, not onto your fucking pedantic white predicaments, and trying to turn around and treat Lumpen people like they're stupid because they speak different, they act different, they live different, they don't have all these books around them. Well, fuck your preach to authority, motherfucker. I preach to experience.
Agreed. And PragerU, it just nobody watches PragerU who actually has any sense of humanity, because everything I see from PragerU, since we're getting back to the topic, does nothing but punch down at people that have no power in society.
I mean, the fact that they even call themselves a university must be even a joke to the people that watch it. I hope they see it as a joke. because otherwise I'm going to lose even more faith for the American people than I already very little have about American people.
I have no faith in the American people. My faith in the American people died a long time ago, pretty much.
Well, the way that I put it is negatives exist, and that negative number can keep going up, well, down. Have a mathematician come and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that the increasing negative of a number would still be it going down. So I think I'm right on that one. It's becoming lesser, so down. I'm gonna flip the coin on that one.
COVID-19 has only reinforced my views on Americans.
COVID-19 has only fucking shown the teeth of how this. Well, I mean, COVID-19 wasn't the cause of it. COVID-19 just escalated it. But what we're seeing now, COVID-19 helped spin up a quick time, but it was going to happen anyway. Is the fascism that comes when a system is falling apart. And this is why they're jumping to make this video now. And this is why I'm jumping to get on this video now, because when fascism comes in, people who are like the homeless, they're the people who end up getting targeted, attacked, and treated like shit. I mean, this guy's going to turn around and tell you that the word homeless is wrong. It's not even a real term. Like, how can you be homeless? Where you are is your home, or the bollocks. If I remember rightly. Either way, he basically turns around and says that the term homeless is wrong, and it's like, the fucking what?
It's easy to say that, honestly, when these motherfuckers
You've had a home your entire life.
Have a roof over their head. They never had to worry about a landlord terrorizing you or afraid
Well, they
of your
are the
landlord.
landlords.
What?
No, these people end up being the landlords half the fucking time.
It's like I'm just gonna say that every time I dreaded any time my landlord came over to my house when I lived in my other place.
So the landlord that I had in my shared house, she wasn't the landlord as in the owner, but she was essentially the warden. She was fucking essentially very passive and cool with the fact that they were all smoking. She was even passive with the fact that my brother was dealing in smoking bud, and I had no problem with it. And then as soon as my brother decided to start complaining about the fact that the boiler's broken, she just went and fucking did a room search on a day she's not supposed to do a room search, ransacked through his things while he weren't there, found his weed, and went and fucking, reported him and got him kicked out just because he dared fucking be pissed off that his boiler hasn't been fixed after asking for it to be fixed for months. By the time it got fixed, the winter was already fucking over. It's ridiculous. And it lost him the chance of getting his own flat. Like, he was going to go and move on in about a month from there and move into his own flat after that, and they kicked him out just before.
Landlords, to me, don't do anything but abuse their power. They get some sort of psychotic power trip when they come to terrorizing their tenants.
Yeah, a lot of them, I don't know if you noticed this, a lot of them like to act like they're left wing.
They're fucking anything but left wing.
I know they are, but they like to act it. They like to act like they're very socially progressive, so they're very left, and they'll be all nafty about it, and they'll try and act like I guarantee it's just a cope and seethe. It's how they deal with the fact that people don't like fucking blatant right wing authoritarian apartheid landlords as easy anymore, so they're getting fucking too stubbled in by things. But
landlords are fascists. No one's gonna change my mind on that. Because who's gonna be one of the first people that and one of the loudest supporters of fascism? Landlords.
Yep, protect their property. The fascist order will come in on those fucking bases. I'm nearly ready to get the video started. Just doing the one last thing.
Prager University is fascist propaganda. Like, Prager University is I mean, you might as well just do Nazi apologelia. I'm surprised they haven't done that yet.
I mean, it's eventually getting to that point anyway.
Yeah, we're going to say that we defeated the wrong enemy in World War II. I'm surprised they haven't fucking done that.
I mean, that's it. We're essentially getting to that point with other groups within this country. I mean, there's plenty of. I mean, America has plenty of national socialist organizations forming. It's one of the things we were discussing about in the last stream. We appear to have lost Comrade Jawad. Maybe it's internet problems. I hope it is and they come back.
Well, it's just, the national Nazis have existed in America for 100 years. Pretty much. They've never not existed.
Whoa, what are you trying to say, that US patriotism might have a problem? I think you are just some anti-China leftist. You know what I mean?
I'm more anti-America than I am anti-China.
I know you are. That's the funny thing, but that's the way these people are. Like, you start throwing down these criticisms of people, they'll start calling you ultra left.
Yeah, but I'm more anti-America than I am anti-China because
you're more anti-America than you are anti-anything, and if anything, Britain probably scares you more than China, which is understandable.
Britain and America, is there a difference between the two? Their societies are pretty much the same.
You're our child that we attempted to drown in the bath but failed, and now you've gone on a fucking murderous rampage ever since.
I'm not gonna lie. I think the world would have been a better place if America never existed. I will die on this hill.
I agree.
As bad as Britain Britain is, if we're going to be honest, objective here, the British Empire is the most evil empire in history. However,
1.8 billion Indians, by the way, for anyone who don't know about how many Indians we killed in Asia.
However, America isn't that far behind, and neither is Japan. And it's the most evil empires that have ever existed. But what makes America I'd argue more evil than Britain even is not the body count per se, it's the ideas of America. America appears to be a country on the surface, I'm someone who lives here, as a country that cares for its people, a land of opportunity, but it does nothing but lies. Tells you lies from the moment that you go to grade school until you leave, college.
Yeah.
America, more than any country, I can't say for Britain, treats dissent, like, you're the entire enemy. If you're a dissenter, you're the enemy of the state.
Yeah, it's the same here.
Like, at my job, I cannot, get into too much into it because I don't want one of my fucking shit employees to watch, any of these streams. But let's just say I made it well known at my job I don't support the cops. I think the cops are violent thugs. And nobody's going to change my mind, by the way, about that. They're violent fucking thugs. I was written up because I said all cops were violent thugs. Actually, I called them fascists. But is there a difference between a fascist and a thug? No, there isn't.
I mean, what's it? At least some thugs might have a reason to be a thug. Fascists are fuckers.
They're thugs. They're fucking thugs.
They are. They're fuckheads. The fascists. I mean, the police are brutal. The brutal criminals of the world in America. Especially when we were talking about Arizona earlier, with the way that the different police forces of Arizona are tied into the trafficking of not just women and men, but a main trafficking purchase item is transgender peoples, and a lot of the time to be killed on Midnight Productions snuff films. But that's it. I think we should dive into this fucking mess.
Give me a minute because I just finished my lunch and I need to clean my dishes. I'll be back in a few minutes. If you have any last things to say, I'll do it now.
The white man is gay. Okay. 2 videos in a row that I've managed to have it need a fucking timestamp put in the fucking thing of aha, you want the video, it actually starts here.
All right, I'm ready.
Alrighty. And certainly not confident. Messaging a comrade. Okay then, so PragerU. Let's see what they've got to have to say. I imagine it's going to be very important because it's a university, guys, and we all know we've got to preach to authority once every now and then. Make the MLs happy.
What's actually ironic is Prager himself didn't even go to a university.
He went to university. Even though he allows the promotion of anti-Semites on his fucking show, so much.
Well,
Judeo-Christian values.
I personally consider him an anti-Semite because if you allow anti-Semites, on your show, then you're an anti-Semite yourself. I don't care.
He's pro-Zionism. It doesn't matter anyway. Zionism is anti-Semitic. It's anti-Semitic to the Arab people.
Yeah.
Semites by any right. God's right.
It's completely irrelevant. I don't care if he claims to be a Jew. He's an anti-Semite. If you platform Holocaust deniers, and you do so knowing their history, then you are yourself an anti-Semite.
Couldn't agree more. Oh, you're gonna laugh at the first statement. Wait till you hear this.
I watched this before.
This is one of the most vexing public policy problems we face. If you live in a big city, especially on the West Coast, you literally face it every day. And every day it seems to get worse. Why? Let's start.
Why?
With a couple.
Jordan, do you understand? Do you have any idea as to why someone might be fucking homeless?
Well, there's various reasons. They lost their job, they are in medical debt, or their landlord jacked up rent to the point where it's like not affordable. These people are priced out of housing. That's why it's getting worse. I mean, I'm thinking in California, rent is just going up, 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 and up. Where if you can't afford to pay for it, guess what? You're going to be evicted, or you're going to be forced to move out. And so it's not that fucking complicated. Like, of course,
I mean, I was Lumpen-Maoist from the proletariat because of my disability as well. So there's that too. There's people that could have either been a worker or been even more, but they couldn't because of disability and the way society neglects people with disability.
Yeah, that too. And the thing about Prager University, in order to fucking get their audience to believe in eugenics and fucking fascist propaganda. They just use the same tactics. Oh, it's very complicated. When no, it's simply people cannot afford to fucking live in these fucking houses because they're priced out of them. It's that
Exactly.
simple. It's not fucking that complicated.
They're priced out of them. They're priced out of food.
That
They're
too.
priced out of being able to function within society. They're ostracized. They have no healthcare and accessibility to it because you need a job to have healthcare in America. There's no other feasible way of having healthcare in America. I mean, you could maybe get it from Social Security, but that's fuck all healthcare that Social Security are willing to provide unless you've got disability support, and even that isn't going to be the best healthcare ever.
I can tell you from experience someone who is on disability benefits. It's fucking shit. Like I had to fucking fight tooth and nail to get something basic done, like a fucking deep clinging. Something that's so simple as a deep
because
clinging. They
because
don't
you're not
cover.
paying because you're paying big money. No, sorry, because you're not paying big money. Not only will they not cover things like this, but they will do like sometimes as well. Jobs ain't done well because you ain't paying the big bucks. They ain't gonna look after you as well as they would someone who's coming in and paying fucking 200 grand for what they're probably getting 5 grand off the government for.
Like I'm part of a government program that they will not give me their specialized doctors unless my insurance will not be accepted anywhere else. So that's the only way I was able to get a deep clinging. So I had to wait almost 2 years to get
everywhere.
one. Yeah, because they don't want to fucking
Waiting
pay for
lists
it.
galore.
Anyway, let's see what else this middle class fuckhead has to say.
Yeah, I'll be pressing play, but I will just say that what fucking my comment just described is America personified, but the capitalist system personified. It's always this rotary system of throwing people down into the lumpen. And I mean, there's something I found out recently as well is that actually no, it's not on topic of the thing. I'll go on about it at another point in time.
First, the word itself is misleading. Homelessness is not primarily a housing problem, it's a human problem.
That's bullshit.
The fuck?
That's bullshit.
Okay.
We have more than enough houses to house every homeless person. 10 times over. Yet the government won't do it because it's not profitable to do so. Houses are built for profit. They're not built to house. What the heck? A human problem? What human problem? I wonder what this fuckhead who has never worked a day in his life is going to have to say about that.
I mean, look at the fucking title card for the next bit as well. The primary drivers of homelessness. Guarantee, first thing is drugs. Guarantee you, I've seen this before, but it's been a while. I guarantee you, first thing is drugs.
Or drug addiction and mental illness.
Oh, and mental illness is the second one. Look at that. Fucking bada bing bing bing.
Okay, first off, what causes homeless people to do drugs and to develop mental illnesses? What causes that in the first place?
Yeah, I don't think people just do drugs out of the blue. I don't think drugs have this innate addictiveness to them that just does people to do that. I've seen the rat park experiments where they give rats heroin in the same way that they give rats heroin or morphine. In the rat cage experiments where they had them all in separate cages, but this had them all in one big park with all the things that they'd ever need. And rats have a similar social culture to us. I know it seems weird, but it's just mammals for you. We're not the only fucking intelligent beings on the planet. They socially commute, and when they were socially commuting, they would sometimes, some of them would try the opium, but they wouldn't like it, and they'd just go for the water. If you've got everything you need, you ain't gonna be doing hard drugs. So they don't understand why drug addiction happens. And normally, people who are doing drugs are already mentally ill, but they're gonna try and turn around and say that it's the other way around.
Let's be honest. The right wingers just don't give a fuck about fucking people that are like homeless people. It's like
this isn't just the right wingers. This is what a lot of left wingers think as well. A lot of Marxists too.
I know it's like, but drug addiction. Like, if anybody's ever been homeless or have ever been under intense stress, which eventually does lead to homelessness, people do what they can to relieve their stress. Whether it's alcohol.
I'll tell you that if you're homeless, you will end up smoking dustbin bags. That's just something that'll end up happening. You'll
whether
end up
you
fucking smoking joints. You'll end up fucking getting pissed. You'll end up doing anything. I remember when we fucking robbed a bottle of whiskey from the Aldi up in Atherstone. Yeah, I think it was Atherstone. Or Nuneaton. I can't even remember for the life of me. I remember us walking all the way back from there to fucking Tammy. It was a long ass walk. We had a
it's like
bottle of fucking whiskey we robbed from the Aldi, and we were just yanking that while we were on our way back, and then I had the rest of it to myself.
it's like people don't do drugs because they fucking want to. They do it because they're in so much pain they can't deal with the fucked up reality they live in, and that's like an escape. And mental illness. How does mental illness develop? Not everyone, just develops mental illness overnight. It happens over time, and so of course some people are born with it too. But the conditions that they live in it makes it worse. When you're homeless, every bad thing that you have mentally, it's amplified. Like one of the first things you are basically learn when you're homeless is you're deprived of basic human dignity. You need to use the bathroom? Too bad. If you're not a customer, tough shit. So you soil yourself. So you basically piss yourself, shit yourself. That's like one of the first thing that happens. It's like imagine
No,
what
do you
that
know
does
what?
to.
Do you know what? Do you know what? Sometimes you can, but do you know what you have to do as well to go to the toilet? You know what you have to do? You have to ask, like sorry, sir, I've got nowhere to go. I'm homeless, and I could really do with using the bathroom. Can I please use the bathroom in your restaurant? And like sometimes, like it'll be a yes. Sometimes you get really embarrassed, and it's a no.
In America, it's gotten worse. You have to pay. You have to be a paying customer in most
Yeah,
of the places I live at to use the
a lot of
restroom.
McDonald's have gone like that these days. Like you have to when I was in Liverpool, um, I was in one of the malls, and you need to buy a burger from McDonald's or anything to get a ticket to scan through these bollards that block off the toilets. You can't use the toilets without that fucking voucher.
That's fucking awful. COVID-19 has made things have gotten even worse regarding the
The,
homeless.
the police have been beating the homeless out of places. I mean, like, what's it? The COVID-19 has given the freedom for the system to do the fascism it was going to do anyway for the Great Depression that was already hitting before coronavirus hit. They've taken full advantage of the situation. The what's it? Oh fuck! What was I gonna say? Shit! Lost my train of thought.
It's
Ah, yes, I've got
disgusting.
it. I've got it. So the fascist and state improvements have gone to the point where was it San Francisco is now illegalized homelessness? I think it's LA or San Francisco.
Well, I
One of
wouldn't
them.
I wouldn't put it past this fascist state one of these days to arrest you as soon as you if you don't have a place to go.
Well, it was the guy, the billionaire. It's the billionaire who funds the other young Turks that push for the illegalization of homelessness. They're pushing for it. They're trying to push it for it in the whole of California. And this video actually tries to push for it too, I do believe.
Let's move on with this disgusting thing.
I'm gonna actually go into the the sources afterwards because I want to pull up the source about what they're kind of going about drug addiction and mental illness. Because you know what's funny, Dark Synovia, is that the source contradicts them. It actually has like accounts on people going on about how it's like their severe suffering in life that causes them to use drugs, but it doesn't mention their account on that in this. It's disgusting. But I will very say it though I texted it. Hello, Louis. Oh, I keep pressing space on the wrong thing.
According to data from UCLA's California Policy Lab, approximately 3/4 of people living in cars, tents, and on the streets suffer from serious mental illness, drug addiction, or both. Second, despite these conditions, the homeless actually make rational decisions about where they want to live. Not surprisingly, they move to the most permissive environment they can find. Make your city attractive.
What?
Drug addiction, or both.
Yeah, of course we
Second,
do, because we're in
despite these
struggle.
conditions, the homeless actually make rational decisions about where they want to live.
You mean
Ah,
what do you mean rational decisions on where we want to live? We don't have anywhere we can live. We move around. We don't stick in one place. What the fuck do you mean?
yeah, you fuckface. Homeless people have to constantly be on the move. They can't stay in one place for too long. Because
What they mean? Because there's cities where they go where they're going to be safe. Well, that's because the other city has it illegal, so they have to go there. Like, genuinely, fuck off. And of course they're going to probably want to not go fucking near Chicago because it's got the fucking mass support for the police there that's fucking massively anti-homeless and anti-black.
yeah, and most of the home. Let's see what else this fuckhead has to say.
Welcome, Jawad.
Not surprisingly, they move to the most permissive environment they can find.
No,
Make your city attractive for the homeless.
No, we move to where we can survive. And survive? We do as best as we can. Yeah, I know, Tom. Like, yeah, they have the choice to just go live in the city. I mean, but as if the police are very fond of homeless people sitting up their businesses. No, they get pushed out. If they don't get pushed out, they live in the fucking back alleys in the slums.
it
And
doesn't. This affects people who aren't even homeless, who in the first place. It isn't like me. One time, I had the fucking police fucking called on me because of the way I fucking looked and my freaking all the stuff that I was hauling around. Like even looking homeless is enough for you to be discriminated against, even if you're not homeless yourself. Like
I've
you're
never felt more invisible in my life when I was homeless. I mean, like, one of the moments of it was like, I remember one time where I was just sat in town with my big ass bag of shit on me because there's only so much shit that they could hold at the night shelter that I ended up managing to stay up with the church. I'm just sitting in the middle of the town and I basically don't exist. And I'm listening and I'm hearing all these different things going on around me with all these different people, even hearing stuff about people I know who've gotten themselves into shit robbing of people they shouldn't. The what's it? It just felt so like disconnected from everyone going on about. It was like I was just a fucking blank slate and moving around. Like people would just look at me like I'm a waste of space. And I weren't someone who begged or anything like that. I was just rough. Like, I was wearing fucking like 2 or 3 pairs of tracksuits bottoms on me because it was the winter and it was absolutely freezing, and I was suffering my fucking disability, and I had no medication or anything for it at that point in time. I was just fucking struggling on. I didn't even fully understand what my issues were at that point in time either.
well anti-homelessness affects even people that are housed. Like if they have, let's say, clothes that are kind of faded or have holes in them, and you go to some of these places, you're treated as badly as a homeless person because they assume that you're homeless.
I've even had that off my own family.
What?
I've even had that off my own family, being treated for shit, for looking like shit.
Yeah, it's just like anti-homelessness just affects the housed too, or people that are so poor that they can't afford to get new clothes. Like they have to resort to getting them used. They're treated like the homeless. So no, anti-homelessness affects the poor as well as the poor, the lumpen, working class. It's like it it it, it's just they
Especially the disabled
yeah,
and
the
the black,
disabled are even
broke,
worse.
disabled and color people of color. I mean, people of color have always struggled for the disabled and with the disabled. They've always had that struggle at heart. That's why why one of the many reasons why I've got so many respect for the African American struggle. And I managed to learn so much, not just about their struggle from them, but even about my own struggle from them, because they fucking understand that shit well and true and stunning, and they understand the fucking homeless struggle way better than any paramedic dickhead fucking from his ivory tower, jackass. But let's see what's his thing on. Make your city attractive for the homeless. Let's see where he's going with this. Let's just take it back a second. So
Move to the most permissive environment they can find. Make your city attractive for the homeless, and they'll beat a path to your doorway.
What do you mean to your doorway? We ain't going anywhere near your fucking doorways. I see it's a shop, with the shop doors. Or maybe if you didn't fucking give them nowhere to go, they wouldn't be sleeping in the middle of the streets. But they can go sleep in their front of someone's fucking house. Next to a shop is not next to someone's yard, you know what I'm saying?
In all honesty, it's like if you gave these people a place to fucking stay, they wouldn't be doing that. Nobody wants to live out in the street. Anyone that says they do are full of shit and don't know what homelessness is like.
Do you want to know why we ever go anywhere near shops? It's because some shops have like cut-ins or bits of roof that come out, and you can just get snug with someone over the top of you and sit under that and have a relaxing night. It's always good if you've got like a few lads with you, because you can alternate between sleeping.
All right, let's continue with
one
this
thing I will
nonsense.
say as well is that on the streets, we're not all on our own. I mean, a lot of people get stuck in a struggle on their own, but we try to stick together. I was with a brotherhood of people that I see as family, and we all stuck together and we all cared for each other and we all threw our heart in and we all looked out for each other. Anyone got hurt, we all stuck out for that person that got hurt. Anything went wrong, we all tried to help solve that with that person that went wrong. You know, we all stuck together. We all made sure we had what booze we needed, or what fags we needed, or what alcohol we needed, and whoever had fags would donate fags to others if they just didn't have, etc. It was, everyone's things were everyone's things. We all looked out for each other.
Why build homeless shelters when we could just simply house these fucking these people? We have enough fucking housing to house the homeless. We don't need to build shelters. Give them the goddamn shelters. Take the goddamn property from these fucking greedy ass fucking corporations and landlords. Take the fucking things away and have people actually live in these damn houses, and you'll never fucking have a homeless problem. But
we will have to do shelters though as a movement for dual power, but that's actually not a bad idea. Moving on to the point of just occupying empty houses, and that would be something that would require a greater yield of power. But at first, it'd have to be shelters and
obviously
soup kitchens, food things in general. Food is paramount. Food, water, and making sure people have enough to keep themselves warm if they ain't being encased in a shelter.
All right, let's continue with this disgusting video. Yeah, he was.
The Venice Boulevard underpass on the border of Los Angeles and Culver City brings home this point. It's one of thousands of concrete structures in Los Angeles County, but there's a curious detail. The Los Angeles side is full of tents, and the Culver City side is empty. Why?
Because these people haven't got anywhere to go, because you've not given them a home, even though there's loads of empty homes. What do you mean, why? What do you think it's their fucking fault?
Because the two cities have different public policies. Los Angeles has effectively decriminalized public camping and drug consumption, while Culver City enforces the law.
Enforces the law, the US law, the law built on a fucking foundation of slavery and fucking all sorts of horrible fucking shit, genocide.
This pattern that the homeless go where the policy environment is the most permissive can be seen up and down the West Coast. In San Francisco County, it's estimated that 30% of the homeless migrated there after becoming homeless somewhere else. In the city of Seattle, that number is 51%. The San Francisco Chronicle estimates that hundreds of homeless individuals move to the Bay Area each year because of the perception that it is a sanctuary for people who are unwilling to participate in programs designed.
Are you fucking kidding me?
In the streets.
I'm pissed. Pardon. This is the thing I hear from a lot of people. Social programs, and I just don't get involved with them. I'm fucking involved with social services for my disability, and I'm involved with mental health services for my mental health, and they've decided to just abandon me, even though they said ages ago they'd contact me.
It's like these social programs don't fucking do shit for people that are struggling. They fucking don't. They do the bare minimum.
No, No, do you know what it is as well? There's loads of these private houses that refuse to take people on benefits. Do you know what they do with people on benefits? They stick you in shared housing and they treat it as housing training, like training you to be an independent living person. But guess what? They've got people who have had families who have lived in their own houses, in their own things. They've had kids that can't even see their kids properly because they're living in the shared yard sort of thing, you know? Like, but, you know, they're being treated like they can't just have a flat now. Like, why can't you just put them on, move on straight away? They've already lived in a family. They've already had their own yard. Some of them are in their 50s and 60s. And they're having to go for a shared house and live with 4 other fucking blocks sometimes in these houses. Sometimes 6 people in a house. It's essentially the modern slum housing.
It's
They
like
just slum all these people up together. And it's sometimes the elderly that are going to be slummed up with the young. Women that are being slummed up with people who are fucking dodgy characters, etc. You know what I mean?
It's like unwillingness to use programs. These programs are not easy to get into. They're not. They're fucking hard. Hell, getting Social Security itself is fucking hard.
Well,
It's like it's like
like
this entire fucking personal responsibility, philosophy that these fucking fuckheads push is pushed by people who never had to live these experiences or make the hard choices. It's like they don't know anything about why a homeless person would do what they do. And as for these programs, they don't. Why would they trust the government when the government has screwed them over time and time again?
the only reason I have the flat that I have today is because the day that I got kicked out of the hostel I was living in, which isn't much better living either. I went a bit crazy when I was in the hostel, like fucking hell, like blood on the walls, so crazy. Like I was a bit of a nut job at that point in time. Had a really weird mental loose, like fucking loads of past shit catch me up. You don't want PTSD, it'll really fuck you. Long story short, I ended up fucking getting kicked out. What's the first thing I do? I even refused to be driven to the council by the police officer, even though it was tipping it down my brain. Because you don't. So funniest thing is they fucking when they kicked me out of the hostel. I had the CEO of the hostel come in to my room with 2 police officers, and I could only grab minimal things at that point in time because I could only think about what I needed to put on me and wagon in that direction. But they had them following me all over the room, like fucking hounding behind me, and then escorting me out of the building. And then I marched straight down to the town centre. I went to the council and I spent the entire afternoon shouting at the council so they sorted the shit out. It was an interesting experience. And because I was so persistent not to go to a hostel in Birmingham, I managed to get in a night shelter for a bit, and that eventually got me into a position where I got in touch with a housing a shared housing unit, and then I eventually got my flat. But what kept me from a life on the streets was me trying and trying and trying, and I managed to be one of the few that succeeded, not because I tried harder than anyone else, certainly not, but because I landed up on something that many people haven't managed to land on at a core time, because that night shelter has deteriorated now, I think, if I remember rightly. But these programs don't fucking help anyone. I've not been fucking aided by government programs. I went for a private housing associations for a shared house that basically turned around and was like, we'll charge everyone the full £200 a week rent, I think it is, that they can take from you. Yeah, £200 a week. So people who would work when they were there, they couldn't live there because you're looking at paying £200 every week, 5 weeks in a month. That's £1,000 every fucking week. You gotta pay every month. Sorry, you gotta pay for a shared house for a room. Like nada on that one. So they even actually started banning people from working, and people who working in if people start working while they live there, they now get removed. But you used to be able to work there and get utterly ripped off and lose all your paycheck. But they do that because they've taken the most that they can take out of housing benefit, because they know most of the people going in, they'll be on housing benefit. So they just turn around and be like, yeah, we need £200 a week, and then they'll take that.
It's like this insanity that these people don't want to do it is so ridiculous. Like these programs, you essentially have to basically give up your dignity in order to get into a lot of these programs. And if you raise your voice at any time during these conversations you have with these people, they just threaten to take your fucking your whatever you have away. Like, oh, we'll kick you out of the program if you continue to have an attitude. Like, you're not allowed to actually raise your voice. You're not allowed to actually question anything. It's like I have to fight for my dignity on a daily fucking basis, and this fuckhead wants to tell the people who are already struggling that we don't fucking use these programs because we don't fucking want to be responsible. Fuck off. None of these people understand what it's like to actually be in these positions. It's never the poor people that do this shit. It's always fucking middle class fuckheads.
I mean, look at this fucking what's it, donkey-eared dickhead. He's some fucking right posh middle class little fuck, if not bourgeois. He's the senior leader of like one of the fucking divisions of PragerU. He's one of their in-house guys. But don't you find it funny that when they're gonna come and trash the homeless, the Prankster himself hasn't got the fucking manacles to come and fucking say this shit himself? He gets mini Prankster to come and do it for him.
Yeah, because it shields him from criticism.
Genuinely, this guy is a fucking waste, man. Let's see what he fucking has to say. Oh, so you got someone else to say, like?
No, let's continue.
Okay.
At first glance, this would seem to make no sense. Why would an individual with no shelter or stable source of income move to one of the most expensive cities in the country? But in the world of the homeless, it makes perfect sense. That's because they operate under a different set of incentives than the average citizen. In a research survey of homeless migrants,
What do you mean we activate under
the homeless, it makes
we world of homeless? We work under different incentives.
In the world of the homeless, it makes perfect sense.
Like, what makes perfect sense? There's no shelter, no stable income, expensive cities. It makes perfect sense. Yeah, because we've experienced the hell of fucking capitalism, so we know that everything is fucking hellish. So it makes perfect sense for us to go where we need to go.
Under a different set of incentives than the average citizen. In a research survey,
I mean, because we live in different conditions.
15% said they came to access homeless services, 10% came for legal marijuana, and 16% were transients who were traveling or visiting when they decided to set up camp.
Legends too.
But
legends. On my heart to
the biggest draw of all, the de facto legalization of street camping, drug consumption, and property crime.
Oh, fuck you, you utter fucking pleb. I don't know, he's not even a pleb, I just called him working class stuff, so I feel sorry for that. But pleb has just been used as a constant insult for an idiot in my lifetime. Fucking, such a fucking insulting term, in all fairness. What a fucking absolute penis. There we go, there's a better P to call him.
Majority of these fucking properties, that the homeless usually go to, are never fucking used. Like, there's a piece of property where not too far where I live that looked like it hasn't been used for decades. Yeah, you have a piece of land that is not being used yet. They build an entire fence not because they wanted to protect their property. They just don't want the homeless staying there.
I mean, I can relate this to Britain here. So, over here, I'm sure you guys have heard that there was a war between us and Ireland in the Cold War. But from '69 to '93, or was it '97? When was the fucking agreement that they had when Ireland disarmed? Someone in the chat know. Anyway, well, Irish history is 800 years of conflict. Well, in England ourselves, we have a lot of people who are, um, you know, uh, unassimilated Irish people that are still travelers, and they still essentially, what's it? And I don't mean the word in the derogatory sense that British people will use it towards people, but they're true gypsies in the sense of, not in the sense of being a gyppo or any insult like that. I mean all love and respect here, but in the sense of being true travelers. There's a lot of people that are like that around here. And if they ever set up in a place like here, they don't just get driven up by locals, they get driven up by the police. You don't get nice places to go when you're fucking when you're an Irish traveller, because before, like, everyone just thinks you're going to steal off them before you even do anything. Like, yeah, there are people who do bad shit. Yeah, any Irish traveller who's fucking not engaged in bad shit stuff will tell you, because they'll tell you those people disgust them because they stick to a sort of code of principles that people don't understand. Irish travellers have a fucking hardcore code of principles when it comes to respecting people, so long as you respect them. And I've got all my love for them, especially the people that I know who are in that. I mean, one of the people I was actually homeless with, like one of my Lumpen brothers, was a member of a family of Irish travellers himself. He's a legend.
Punching down, Jesus. The only people that watch Breaker University are people that punch down. It's like this is disgusting. It's like street camping. Okay, where the fuck do you expect the homeless to? What do you expect the homeless to do? You expect them to, they have to sleep somewhere. As for drug consumption, specify. What do you mean by drug consumption? That's vague. It could mean any kind of drug. And property crime. You know what? I don't fuck property. I value human lives over fucking property.
I mean, it's like the way I look at those, like street camping. Yeah, of course, they're having a nap. Drug consumption. Don't care what drugs you take, you've got my heart. Like, so long as we can get you out of it, because I know that a lot of the drugs that some people might be on are some of the stuff that they don't want to be on, but they're just caught up and they can't get out. And people condemning them just doesn't help. This is condemnment. This doesn't help people that are struggling on drugs. This just makes them fucking blame themselves, attack themselves, and consume more because they feel lesser of themselves, and they're at the end point and they feel like they want to die. But the only thing that's holding them on is the fact that humans will just grasp onto things, grasp onto life. And so when you're in that derisive point of death, you just end up abusing drugs. You just end up, because of the preservation protocol that brains have that stop you from killing yourself until the last point, where eventually you get pushed to the end of your will and you eventually snap and just end it all. People in the Lumpen know this struggle all too well because we've been going through it since a young age.
Let's continue.
PragerU's Che Guevara video was such cringe. I don't even want to consider what they've been saying about PragerU, my comrade.
As former Seattle Public Safety Advisor Scott Lindsay has shown, the city is now home to a large population of homeless, prolific offenders, people who commit property crimes to feed their addictions, but are rarely held accountable for those crimes by the criminal justice system. So,
pardon? I'm sorry, you get caught with drugs, I'm sorry, marijuana can get you locked up for fucking 12 years. What the fuck are you on about? Biden's trying to extend it to 24 years.
Yeah, are you fucking kidding me? Homeless people, when they get fucking caught by the police, they're the most likely to go to prison. This is fucking lying.
They're expanding. So also now, if you're caught with a firearm that isn't licensed and marked down and everything like that, and other bits and pieces, basically they're trying to introduce a firearm license system. So if you ain't got a firearms license and you're caught with a firearm in America, even though the Second Amendment is supposed to mean that you're supposed to have the right to have a firearm, they will be able to arrest you and put you in prison for up to 24 years of sentence.
The whole point is to basically, not to mention, there's another thing we gotta.
Before you move on though, like the whole point of that is that they're trying to basically cripple any movement like BLM or anything like that, or the Rising Black Panthers, because they get caught with firearms and they ain't licensed, down, marked down, registered and everything, and on a public roster, which is what they're trying to do with things. They'll be arrested and put in prison. So it's just a way of being able to just lock people up that try and organize and defend themselves. Of course, a lot of states ain't gonna have this, and hopefully they fight back for the freedom, for the one freedom thing of America. The one thing that is free about America is the right to bear arms, and that is something that you guys should not lose. Otherwise, you'll be
Actually,
becoming a placid wank stain like Britain.
actually, that's not. I wasn't going to move on. I was actually going to bring up how a lot of homeless people are felons, because when you get out of prison, you fucking have nothing.
Can't vote.
Yeah, you can't vote. You can't get a place to live. You can't get hired at a job, and
They won't even give you. I'm pretty sure they won't even give you. I know people don't like it, and it's pretty stinky bourgeois stuff. But I don't even think they'll give you jury duty either once you've been a felon.
It's like you can't do anything, like, honestly. And a lot of these felons, the homeless who are felons, tend to go are people
Just
that are
marijuana stuff as well. You know, most of the crimes that they've got felons for is marijuana crimes. I remember hearing some. It's like, it's not just like, because everyone goes on about crack when they talk about people being locked up in America. It's marijuana, if anything, that people are getting locked up for. Like, it's crack too, but it's marijuana, it's crack, it's meth. Like, you know, people don't go out of their way to do crack cocaine. Like, you got to be fucking like you got to have that funneled into the worst of communities, in the sense of not of the people, but of the way the people are having to live. Like, it's got to be some rundown community that you're forcing that in for people to be going down that, because it takes a lot for people to be drummed down to the point where marijuana ain't going to do the shit for them, or a line of coke ain't going to do the shit regarding on the cocaine front. The fact that people end up going to crack is like something that has to be started off, because once it's started off, that addiction is something that's hard to break, because crack and gambling stimulates similar part of the brain, but crack stimulates it like a million times stronger. And it's like, from what I've been told by crackheads, the high itself isn't even fucking that nice initially, because it just feels like you've wafted ammonia. But they've said that what's it? It's the feeling you get afterwards with it, but it lasts for about 15 minutes, and then they have to take it again. And what they'll do is they'll essentially just keep smoking bits of it over a period of time and trying to keep puff the high up. Like, crack is just a downward spiral drug. Now, mind you, 15 minutes, the drug it's derived from, which is a mix of cocaine and bicarbonate soda, it is it lasts 45 minutes when your body has ingested a line of coke. It takes about 45 minutes for the high to dissipate.
well, that's just, they don't even bring up. That's one thing they conveniently leave out about how most homeless people are felons. They won't bring that up because it'd make them look like complete pieces of shit, actually.
Well, come on, man. They can just do all these programs. Oh, wait. A lot of these programs don't like felons. I mean, as well. So someone like me, even though like I need to get the marijuana card sorted out, but it's really hard to do. But well, at least with my fucking difficulties and the problems I'm facing at the moment, I'm supposed to have more support than this. But I need to get my marijuana card sorted, because the problem I had is I've gone to mental health organizations before to ask for help. Because I'm open about the fact that I smoke weed, because I want to be honest with the people I'm dealing with, I managed to get prescribed my fucking autism meds and saying that I still smoke weed. And normally they tell you not to, and they're fine with it because of my condition. When I was dealing with this mental health organization, they're just like, nope, the fact that you do drugs, we not deal with you until you go to rehab. And like I thought, like, okay, rehab, they just mean I go there every now and then, I deal with them and all that. No. They wanted me to lose my yard and go and fucking live in a rehab center for 16 weeks and have to try and then get a new place on the housing register. Were you fucking mad? Set me back to square one just because you want me to quit something that doesn't even fucking cause that much of a fucking problem.
Let's see what else this guy has to say.
Is ever increasing
fascist.
our inevitable future? If our goal is to make life as
It is, if you keep this fucking system going, you dirty prick.
attractive as possible for the homeless, the answer is yes. If our goal is to actually help the homeless, the answer is no.
That's yeah for you. You see the honesty. You see the honesty, everyone. Look, he's admitting it. He's fucking admitting it. He doesn't want to fucking help the homeless. I know this is him trying to say that the homeless don't want to fucking help themselves and all that stuff, but no, this is him. He don't want to help them. He wants to just fucking, what's it? He just wants to vandalize. Like, what's it? What do you mean? Like,
The homeless are useful, actually. The homeless are actually useful because it strikes fear into the working class or people that are
yes.
borderline, homeless. This will be you if you don't continue to grind your life away. This is you.
I mean,
You want
it's
to be
like
like
the
you want to
Reserve
be like
Army of
this.
Labor. Sorry.
Oh yeah, another thing about being homelessness, they won't getting a job is almost impossible. Actually, I forgot to mention if you're homeless. Like it's this everything is so much stacked against you that you're likely gonna stay homeless until the day you die once you become homeless. Like homelessness is a life-changing event that most people do not recover from.
Yeah, I mean, it changed me. Like, I was already a Marxist before I went homeless, but when I went, like, I mean, I got kicked out of my dad's for joining a communist party, funnily enough. But you know, going homeless, and living in the hostel before that as well, it changed me. I learned so much. I engaged more with more people of my struggle and got to learn. And being the disabled guy in the Lumpen group, I even got to learn about how even within them groups you can be left behind in certain retrospects. It was like that when I was in the hostel for a fair amount of people, but not everyone. Some people had a lot of respect for it. Some people just had no respect. But on the streets, every one of my lumpen brothers had respect for the fact that I was a cripple. Like, they took into account that I'm fucking not in a great state and that the cold was deteriorating me. And that was that's that heart that you get from people who are on the streets and in the struggle, that know that we got to fucking look out for each other and monitor how each other operate. And I used to come into the night shelter falling to pieces because of my condition, and I didn't even know what it was at that point. I still thought I just had fucking arthritis until I ended up getting my knee scanned and then had a fucking assessment from a specialist to turn around and figure out what was going on, and they figured out that I had chronic pain and chronic fatigue issues, so they got me sent off to the chronic clinic and we figured out, I figured it out before I even went there, but we figured out that it's fibromyalgia, and then so on and so forth. But the fucking winter killed me, and I will always remember the people I was homeless with. They got placed in my heart.
Let's continue with hear what this fascist has to say.
I will say, just before we continue, there was someone said in the comments for you.
No, I'm not doing it today.
It has been the delayed play.
Facing homelessness our inevitable future? If our goal is to make life as attractive as possible for the homeless, the answer is yes.
Oh, so he's saying, if we make life attractive for the possible for homeless, it's going to increase homelessness. What?
That doesn't make sense.
So you're going to make it unattractive for homeless people to live? Is there anything else to really pick up from that?
No.
Like, and what?
Except to lie about homeless people choose to be homeless.
Oh no! Don't even get me started on them fuckers.
Let's continue. Actually,
our goal is to actually help the homeless, the answer is no. Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner is a Democrat, but his approach to homelessness
is a dickhead.
Is a world apart.
He's a fascist.
In Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Seattle. It is simply not acceptable for people to live on the streets. It is not good for them, and it is not good for the city, Turner has said. Houston's policy is a perfect example of what Turner calls a tough love approach. The city has built housing for the chronically homeless, formed a coalition of nonprofit partners, and lobbied the state government for more mental health and addiction services. At the same time, Turner has enforced a strict ban on public camping and promoted a citywide campaign to discourage citizens from giving money to panhandlers. The results are as instructive as they are stunning.
So you mean deny the people who are struggling the most for money, any part of money, even if they're performing? Because, I mean, performers are called panhandlers anyway. It's a very insulting term to call people. These are people that are fucking struggling a lot of the time. Yes, some of them might be shitters trying to get fucking drugs, but that's them still struggling. That's their fucking getting their livelihood. Like, everyone says you shouldn't give people the fucking money when they ask you, but to be honest, it's nothing hurts chucking someone a fucking quid or two when they're struggling. Even if they're gonna spend it on shit, you're gonna spend it on someone's gonna fucking, well, they're gonna get that anyway. They're on a mission to get whatever fucking helps them fucking deal with the hell they're in. And you helping them out might help protect someone else from their trouble. It takes one action to change a myriad of situations that could prevent someone from being stabbed. Don't know the world you're dealing with when you're ignoring people that are struggling like he is and turning off to them and treating them like they're just plastic fucking motherfuckers trying to fucking ruffle around and mess with people and get away with life. No, they're not having a great life. They're having a fucking hellish life.
Isn't it funny how this video was posted, like at the time, not too long before the eviction moratorium, is about to expire. I just find the timing of this convenient.
Oh, do you know what? It was even more convenient that they timed it around the time that discussions were going on in cities in California about banning homelessness. Like, it's just, this is propaganda to expand on that movement without being too direct about it by going straight to the Californian places that are trying to do it. I mean, he already basically talked about them briefly, but he used a Texas example. So it looks more like he's going from a state that, even if it is a Democrat, it's at least yeehaw Texas land, so he's got the rep there. But B, also he's going for a drastically different state that's always seen as the angsty state. And it's like, well, if they can deal with it properly, the other people can deal with it properly.
Yeah, but they need the homeless around to strike fear into the working class. So it's not in their interest to, make homelessness out, illegal in every city and in the country. They're not going to ever do that. The homeless are useful to the bourgeoisie.
I don't know. They might actually be at the point where they're like, there's so many of them, we're just going to force them into shanty towns outside the cities. Think about how. So America, a good thing to point out to people that aren't American is that America, most cities and towns included, are normally like big blocks, and then there's massive distance between everything else. Like a metropolis, maybe in the East Coast, West Coast, you'll see these close-up metropolis, but in the South, city could be hundreds of miles from your next city. Easy. I mean, easy, definitely, certainly tens of miles, and that's still long enough. Like, the fucking, there's plenty of space outside these cities for these shanty towns to form. It's going to end up looking like South Korea. South Korea has like these very, like, first world looking areas of its country, and then when you just leave the town or city you're looking at, there's just big ass shanty towns of all the homeless people that they've turfed out of the city to make it look nice. And the US is going to do this to make it look nice because they're at the point where the aristocracy is getting pissed with how bad everything looks. So the whole scaring tactic is now becoming a bit of an iffy one. So they're going to turn around and turf you all out so they can make the cities look nice. This is why Grenfell happened as well. Like, they turned around and was like, well, the Labour aristocracy keep complaining about how horrible the Grenfell Tower looks. So we'll clad it with flammable cladding because we just don't give a shit. Fucking couple of, it's like, what is it, a year or two after they cladded it? I don't even know. It's not long after they cladded it, ended up fucking catching fire. So
well, we should just actually continue.
I definitely would like to do a discussion on Grenfell Tower at some point, but that's something we need to talk about. See if I can even get some survivors on.
Over the past 8 years, Houston has reduced its homeless population by 54%, while it has skyrocketed in West Coast cities. Different policies, different results. Where a Seattle politician opposes hosing down feces-covered sidewalks because hoses are racist, Houston fights in the court.
Wait, what the fuck?
Well, it has skyrocketed.
Does that make any sense to you?
No, it doesn't. I think we should just move on.
A politician opposes hosing down feces-covered different results. Where a Seattle politician opposes hosing down feces-covered sidewalks because hoses are racist, Houston fights in the
fuck?
courts for the right to
Does anyone in the chat know why hoses are racist?
California progressives push for more drug injection sites and have decriminalized thefts under $950.
That's bullshit. That's
Consequences.
bullshit. That's not
Yo,
true.
wait, my brain went fucked there. What the
Houston
fuck?
fights in the courts for the right to clean up encampments. Where California progressives push for more drug injection sites.
That's bullshit. That's not true.
Fucking
That's
hell,
not.
Jesus Christ.
That's not true. As someone that lives in California, that's bullshit.
What do you mean? No, I'm genuinely, I'm having a fucking moment. 1 second. Like, genuinely. Like, what do you mean? Out of all the things to accuse people of, you're accusing them of being fucking heroin addicts. How fucking classy. I wonder why they're addicted to things like fentanyl, which most people actually will smoke rather than inject, you fucking cheeky cunts. Disrespectful. I know people who are stuck on fentanyl who live in America or I haven't spoken to for a while, and they go through a hard struggle. I hope he's still alive. I hope he's still doing well. These people, these guys don't understand what drug addiction is like and what they're on, and you should not be trashing anyone for, you shouldn't be trashing anyone for drug use at all. You should be respectable of the issues people have to deal with and helpful, because when you show them people that heart, you show them something that they rarely ever fucking get, and they will give you the respect back because they're fucking good people. They're just good people that are broken and lost, and you dare call them all heroin addicts? You dare? I'm disgusted. I know it's PragerU, but I'm disgusted because this is the way a lot of Marxists act. This is the way a lot of leftists act. A lot of fucking first world people in general, right and left, they treat people who are lumpen like they're just a bunch of bagheads, which is a British term for a heroin addict or a smackhead. Genuinely, utterly disgraced.
And have decriminalized thefts under $950.
That's bullshit. That's not true.
I'm going to say, because if that's true, I'm going to be running off to Canada and robbing $950 worth of goods.
Houston imposes consequences not only for theft, but for aggressive panhandling.
Houston is also part of a racist state of Texas, which is wannabe Arizona. It wishes it could be what Arizona is. It's seething at its fucking lips to be able to go on the fucking genocidal rampage that the fascists in Arizona are going on. Fucking dirty example. Texas, as if they've ever been caring of the fucking working class, other than the working class people who have tried to struggle in Texas and have been put down in their past. We'll go way back when. As there's always been struggle across America, a lot, and struggle in America has always been led by African Americans, and I would expect that these guys have some very racist connotations within the way in which they look at drug usage within the US and homelessness within the US, lumpenness within the US in general.
Washing and other street obstructions. As this Texas city has demonstrated, local leaders in cities of any size can meaningfully reduce homelessness through a strategy that mixes compassion with common sense enforcement.
What the fuck do you mean by common sense enforcement? Have you been smoking the funny stuff?
Are you fucking
I want some.
Common sense would be fucking giving these people homes and not fucking condemning them to a life of misery.
But Jordan, do they have the money for the homes? Because if they don't have the money for the homes, then they can't have them. Capitalism wins. Game over, communist.
Like these PragerU offers no solutions except to punch people down. I mean, they're almost saying the quiet part out loud. Just put them in concentration camps. They might as well just say that. That's what prisons essentially are. These let's not sugarcoat it.
I mean, what's it that and I just have this inkling that they are going to ram us all into factories. No, I might be able to fucking still be all right because I should be getting my PIP sorted soon. Get my disability allowance sorted, but what's brain fog. They're gonna be ramming my lumpen brothers and sisters into factories all across the first world, I think. Like, looking about it, not only have they got the reserve army of labor of people within their own nation, but think about what they've done with this war, especially a sneaky little Europe with their massive take on the refugees. Europe is kind of along with the American wars. America's taken a lot of refugees as well, not compared to the rest, but enough that it's still there, that there's a workforce that can be used. But Britain and the European Union has essentially abused the fact that America's war causes a mass flux of refugees, which they can take in and have as a mass reserve army of labor. Now that China's rising, they know not only does China not need their industry anymore, but they could probably do with it themselves because China is now looking to become the hegemonic power and they would maybe like to tussle for it themselves. What do they have? Oh, they have a reserve army of labor of not just lumpen people from their own nation, but lumpenized people from around the world, third world people, fourth world people, people of color, people of white, fucking who'll be following those people of color because those people of color would definitely be leading the struggle. But you know what I mean? Like, we're going to be forced into these factories, no matter who we are. And they're going to be forcing people off their benefits all the time, forcing people off their disability all the time. It happened throughout the coronavirus. There have been people who have killed themselves or lost their lives due to the loss of their benefits. Some people have been trapped in their own houses and the ability to contact people and have no care come to see them and no money about them because they've been cut off and died of malnutrition. Severe, horrible shit has happened to the disabled and the lumpen.
We should finish this video.
If cities stop allowing public encampments and open drug consumption and start prosecuting property crimes, they will have much more success.
I'm pretty sure if
They
you go
already do that, you fucking moron. They already do that.
What's it? I dare him to go take a hammer and smash a piece of concrete outside a government building inside, or just outside the police station inside California, and see if they turn around and go, well, you know what? Don't worry, we'll just give you a pat on the back. Go on home. No, you'll probably go to prison for fucking destruction of property and destruction of police property, which will end up being something like 7 years. Because America gives really tough prison sentences. Actually, it wouldn't even surprise me if they turn around and go, 12 years. It's because America gives some of the toughest prison sentences on the globe. It's the only fucking prison that outmatches America would be the open air prison of fucking Gaza. Israel's open air prison that they bomb whenever they get the fucking chance because Israel is a fascist state. Let's continue. Sorry.
Redirecting the homeless away from a life of self-destruction and toward a life of hope through mental health treatment, drug rehab, and job training. That's what we all want, isn't it?
No.
Okay, this is a little story. Before I went homeless from the hostel, I'd recently developed an addiction to ecstasy, which, for those who don't know, is a form of MDMA style drug. It gets you really fucking great. Like, it's a drug that, like, the way I'm gonna put it for you not to use it is it's too good to use. Don't use it. It's too good. Like, you won't be able to stop, and that's bad because it will end up killing you. It'll kill you if you take too many in one go because of a heart attack, and it'll kill you over time if you keep using them too much because of serotonin poisoning. But I got addicted to ecstasy, and I was taking them all throughout the time when I was homeless, and until when I moved into my shared house, and then eventually I just started moving off them on my own, and I quit them by myself. That's why I find it funny when I went to mental health services after that fact, they turned around and told me for my marijuana I've got to go and fucking do rehab. But it's like, I managed to quit ecstasy with no issue. If I wanted to not smoke the marijuana, I'd not smoke the marijuana. Like, it's just really helpful for my struggle. So it's something that comes into a need. But if I fucking wanted to not smoke it, I'd just not smoke it, but I'd end up taking something else because something needs to fulfill that need. It's one of them. Like, it's not about what the thing is specifically, it's about how the thing works. But I quit that without any rehab, without any help, without anyone helping me. It was all on my own. And if I can quit one of the most addictive drugs on the planet I own while my head's falling apart and my life's falling to pieces, and I don't know what the fuck's going on, and I don't know whether I'm going to actually succeed through the shared house, get my own place, this, that, and the other. My head was all over the place, and I still managed to do it, and I stuck at it. And what's it? I haven't done the tablets ever since. I've only done MDMA, which I don't have the same issue with. But let's continue.
So
With
why
this
don't we do
cunt.
it? I'm Christopher Rufo, senior fellow at Manhattan Institute.
That's it. Okay, well, I'm going to go to the sources quickly now because I fucking what's it? There's some funny stuff going on there. Don't be funny. Okay, where's this?
I don't understand how anyone could say Rager U is not a fascist, YouTube channel. I don't know how anyone could say they're not. Like, this was fascist propaganda. There's just no denying that. He heavily implied to put homeless people in prisons in that video. Like I said, he said the quiet part out loud, what they really mean.
Something that was known about the vulnerabilities and past experiences of unsheltered individuals or how they differ from individuals in shelters. This study adds to our understanding by analysing new data from a survey given to homeless individuals across the United States. Health and behavioural health and trauma as significant contributing factors to loss of housing. Fucking someone actually. Health and trauma. The behavioral health one seems like a weird way of putting it. I would have just said like mental health trouble can cause you to lose your own home rather than behavioral health. It sounds very American. Sus fuckers. Are significant contributing factors to the loss of housing, particularly by unsheltered women. Unsheltered people continue to experience major and worsening health conditions, while homeless people with the longest experiences for homelessness, most significant health conditions, and greatest vulnerabilities are not accessing and being served by emergency shelters. Rather than receiving shelter and appropriate care, unsheltered people with major health challenges are instead regularly engaged by police and emergency services. Yeah, because the police go after them. But if I go through this, I'm pretty sure this one is the... that's it. Unsheltered homeless population occurs. Snapshot the population, the findings. The analytics finds stark differences between people who are unsheltered and people who are sheltered. Unsheltered people, especially unsheltered women, report profoundly greater health challenges, higher risks of experiences of violence and trauma, and longer lengths of homelessness than people who are staying in shelters. The higher rates of health conditions and vulnerability for people experiencing unsheltered homelessness begin even before people lose their housing, and are also seen early in their experiences of homelessness. These findings raise questions about whether emergency shelters are serving people with high health needs when they initially become homeless. Finally, unsheltered adults are engaged by police and emergency services much more regularly than sheltered individuals. Figure 2, physical health conditions, mental health conditions, substance abuse related loss of housing, unsheltered adults. Majority of fucking people who are fucking physical health issues are unsheltered. Mental health issues, unsheltered. Substance abuse issues, unsheltered. But I wonder what their fucking crop was. I know it just say the numbers, but it was like, oh.
Isn't it fun? This contradicts what PragerU fucking said.
This does absolutely contradict it because this is what it ends up getting into as well as like got Health and behavioral care needs and experiences of abuse and trauma are major factors in loss of housing amongst unsheltered people, most especially for unsheltered women. Unsheltered people were more than 4 times as likely to report that physical health conditions had contributed to the loss of housing as sheltered people. 46% versus 11%. Nearly 3 times as likely to report mental health conditions had contributed to the loss of housing, 50% to 17%, and more than 8 times as likely to report that use of drugs or alcohol contributed to loss of housing, 51% versus 6%. Significant portions of both unsheltered and sheltered people reported that experiences of abuse and or trauma had caused their current spell of homelessness. Unsheltered women, however, reported abuse and or trauma as the cause of their homelessness at much higher rates, 80%, than either unsheltered men, 38%, or sheltered women, 34%. Unsheltered people continuing to experience major, well, that's the graph that's going on about. Unsheltered people continue to experience major worsening health conditions with homelessness. Well, homeless, sorry. At the time of the assessment, unsheltered people are more than 4 times as likely as sheltered people to report a physical health condition, 84% versus 90%. Nearly 1.5 times as likely to report a mental health condition, 78% versus 50%. And more than 5 times as likely to report a substance abuse condition, 75% versus 13%. And 25 times more likely to report all 3 conditions concurrently. I have all the problems. I turned around when I went to the night show. I was like, fucking, what's it? Like I have with my doctors and everyone else. I just tell them I smoke weed. There's none other. I think I even told her about my problem with ecstasy. I was very honest. I had a very honest discussion when I met the night show lady, but I managed to, by the skin of my teeth, get in, and then turn up late half the time for when I was getting there because cripple can't travel fast. Even unsheltered people who have been homeless for less than a year report much greater presence of health conditions than people who have been homeless for greater than 3 years but who are sheltered. Shelter status also affects respondents' experiences of having basic needs met. While just 3% of sheltered individuals report difficulty meeting basic needs, 50% of unsheltered individuals report difficulty taking care of basic needs like bathing, changing clothes, using a restroom, and having access to food and clean water, as we're going on about before. People with longest experience of homelessness, most significant health conditions, and greatest vulnerabilities are not accessing and being served by emergency shelters. Unsheltered people reported lengths of time since the last stably housed that were on average more than 6 times longer than sheltered people. 2,632 days versus 410 days. Jesus Christ. And unsheltered women reported an average of 5,855 days since they were last stably housed. Jesus Christ. Most people who were assessed while unsheltered were not using shelter with any significant frequency. Unsheltered women reported spending an average of 18 nights in shelters over the previous 2 years. Unsheltered men reported an average of 44 nights in shelter. The median for both was even lower. For unsheltered women, it was 4 nights in the last 2 years and 8 nights for men. Compared to the people who are sheltered, unsheltered people are with major health challenges, much more regularly engaged with policing efforts and emergency responses. Unsheltered individuals report 10 times as much. Unsheltered individuals report 10 times as many police contacts on average. 21 compared to 2 in the previous 6 months, and were approximately 9 times as likely to report they had spent at least 1 night in a jail cell 6 months. That's what I thought. That seemed weird. 10 times as many police contacts on average. It's a weird way to say have been involved, like have had the police come and stop you, like, but 2 times compared to 21, that's a fucking massive difference. In the previous 6 months, and were approximately 9 times as likely to report that they had spent at least one night in the jail in the last 6 months, 81% to 9%. Police contacts are not necessarily related to enforcement and can be any type of interaction with the police. Unsheltered people. Okay, so they actually explained it afterwards. I see. Unsheltered people were more likely to report at least one visit to an emergency room in the last 6 months than sheltered people. 94% to 74% reported twice as many visits. 8 versus 4. Were nearly 3 times as likely to report at least one trip in an ambulance over the same time frame, 74% to 29%. And what's it? That's actually it for that one. But there's a 2015 paper on substance abuse and mental health problems amongst the homeless, published in the National Library of Medicine, highlights some of the serious public health implications of homelessness. It's almost as if the health problems are caused when you're fucking surviving on the street.
Jesus Christ! I mean, wow, they put sources that contradict their own bullshit, lies. Fuck. Prager University are dumb.
The fuck does syndemic mean? Syndemics are characterized by biological and social interactions between conditions and states. Well, what are they trying to say is syndemic then? Oh, so they're not about they're trying to say that there's a biological component to drug addiction. Please don't. No. So-called sanctuary policies for the homeless can undermine attempts to help people get off the streets through curb illegal behavior. The fascist sources are really here, but they seem to put some stupid contradictory sources before it. An example, problematic political environment after complaints that the area surrounding King County Superior Court, which includes a homeless shelter, reeked of urine and excrement. Maybe it's your own shit, you fucking cunt. My god, their sources are shite. Like, either it ends up contradicting them because it turns around and says, oh yeah, drug addiction and mental health are caused by suffering and trauma. And then you've got loads of things that turn around and be like, in its tough love approach to homelessness, Houston has built housing for the chronically homeless. It's like, fuck off, you dog shit cunt.
Yeah.
Huh. I thought Slime said I blasted it.
I'll probably have to watch that later. Speaking of, funny enough that Caleb Maupin will never criticize PragerU for that kind of shit, but he'll criticize them for saying, other stuff that, whatever. If you're not willing to stand up for the homeless, then in my opinion, you're not my fucking comrade. If you're not willing to actually show solidarity to the homeless.
Jordan is live.
Build popular power and influence legislation and eventually set the stage for themselves to come to power. One thing that Marx did is Marx mobilized working people in Britain to support the struggle against slavery in the United States. Marx said that labor
God,
labor.
I don't want to hear this guy's voice. God, please, no.
Struggle of Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, is this funny? I've got to.
Struggle. Labor. in the interest of all working people in Europe and
Anyway, hold on.
National liberation of Ireland was absolutely necessary. Part of the way the British capitalists kept their power was by subjugating and oppressing the people of Ireland. So the fight for the Irish people's national liberation is desperately important. Marx mobilized workers to demand things like $12-hour workdays, to demand things like
12. Wait, did he say he demanded 12-hour work days? You mean 8-hour work days?
And Marx advocated for women's vote, women's liberation. Marx advocated
There are more people than Marx.
popular reforms that would pave the way for working class power, for the mobilization of workers to eventually take control of the state, control means of production. In 1871, the workers of Paris rose up and overthrew.
Okay, first off, I gotta Stone. I'm just letting you know that I'm just gonna take my leave because I prefer not to do streams longer than 2 hours.
Yeah, no stress. I'll catch you on the flip side. I'll probably speak to you in a bit.
I guess. Well, anyway, solidarity, Stone, and your war against Moppinism.
Solidarity, comrade. I'll give him a good blast because it's gonna be funny.
All right.
See you later, mate.
Later.
It was great speaking with you, comrade. Red salute.
You as well. Red salute.
And Marx pointed to the Paris Commune, first example of a working class government, called the dictatorship of the proletariat. That was the first international, and it used the term communist to distinguish the scientific socialist trend from other various forms of socialism, advocated class struggle, opposed racism, fought for women's rights, and it eventually collapsed due to Marx's fighting with the anarchists. Bakunin, Lassalle, others were unable to continue working with Marx, and eventually the first international. But final years of Marx's life, and especially after Marx died, those who did believe in class struggle, scientific socialism, were continuing to organize. And Marx's ideas were becoming more and more popular throughout Europe. And as that was going on, you had the emergence of the Social Democratic Party of Germany, called the Social Democratic Workers' Party of Germany. You had the emergence of the British Labour Party, the French Social Democratic Party, and eventually you had the emergence of what they called the Second International. And the Second International was an attempt to build a new international of working class parties that would fight for working people and eventually fight to establish working class governments throughout Europe. And the Second International emerged, and the Second International referred to themselves not as communists, but as social democrats and as socialists, because they did not want to be confused with the ultra-left, with the anarchists who were using the communist label, throwing bombs, people who rejected the need for political struggle. They were using the label communist. So the Second International, they would use different names. Second International, they said we're a social democratic party, we're a labor party, we're a socialist party. To not be confused with the ultra-left. The anarchists were using the label communist. And the Second International was very big. The First International was never very large. It was very small. It was Marx, anarchists, delegates from different countries. It was very small. The influence was big. Many people read its publications. But it was a very small organization. But the Second International emerged after Karl Marx's death, very greatly proliferated. Millions of people were part of the Second International. In Austria, there were millions of people that joined the Social Democratic Party. In Germany, the German Social Democratic Party became a huge political organization, many seats in parliament with millions of members. It was massive, representing the labor movement, the labor unions, and in Britain you had the Labour Party that emerged. It was the Labour Party. It represented labor unions. It had seats in parliament. It was a massive political party. In France, you had the Social Democratic Party, a massive organization. The Second International, which emerged after Karl Marx's death, was huge. And no European country was untouched.
The Second International fucking flopped.
Massive movement.
The First International was a massive movement.
Theoretician for the Second International was Karl Kautsky. And Karl Kautsky was the leader.
Drove revolution into the ground.
He was a very effective writer and speaker. He pushed forward the politics of social democracy and of Marxism in the Second International. But Second International, as it emerged around 1910, 1905, it emerged to become a mass movement of millions of people, every European country, mass membership. You entered a period called the crisis of Marxism. Because
the crisis of Marxism. What the?
Going on.
What the fuck is the crisis of Marxism?
Was everywhere in Europe.
What?
Marxist parties were being formed. Labor unions were growing by the millions.
Yes, they were. A struggle was happening.
All over Europe were believing in socialism and Marxism. Socialism was very, very popular. Labor unions were being formed. But
I mean, I don't think most of these aristocratic types were believing in actual Marxism when they were doing what they were doing. Reformism is not Marxism. Yeah, it wasn't the Industrial Revolution because they're doing reformism, which isn't Marxism.
In fact, Marx had predicted that the living standards of the workers would continue to go down as the capitalists replaced the labor, the jobs of workers with technology, as competition for workers increased.
What do you mean it has gone down for us in the lower classes? It might have gone up for people in the middle class, but that's not the lower class. So you're going to turn around and say that people have gotten better? I'll see you later, mate. It's good chilling with you.
They would get poorer and poorer and poorer until eventually they had no choice, and with mass unemployment and poverty and economic instability, to rise up and seize control of the state. But what was happening in Europe at the time was the opposite of what Karl Marx had predicted. Workers in Europe were seeing their living standards go up. Living standards in Europe were going up. And
racism was a part
yes,
of capitalism,
labor unions,
part of
organizations were growing, but they weren't leading to a revolution. So what was going on? What was happening? Well, what was happening was that capitalism was moving toward its monopoly stage of imperialism. Right? This is what Lenin understood, that capitalism was going from being a system where capitalists dominate an individual country to being a system where a few banks and corporations dominate the global economy and hold back economic development. And parts of Africa, Asia, and Latin America are being seized as captive markets for the imperialists to dump their excess product on, to keep from economically developing. And that as Britain was colonizing Africa, as France was colonizing Africa, as China faced the Opium Wars where the British forced free trade on China and tore the country down, as India was being colonized, South America was being colonized, as the developing world was being kept poor and seized as captive markets, and the big banks and corporations of the West were dominating the world. This led to a new level of stability in the homeland. That this enabled the capitalists to pay some, not all, but some of the
people are fucking doing these, man.
It enabled them to pay some of the workers much higher wages and to give special privileges and special treatment.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, there's some of the workers getting the better wages, but you've got the lumpen proletariat that's left in the behind. He never talks about the lumpen. Opportunist working class and lower section of the proletariat. You don't need to call them unskilled. The work they do still requires their use of their fucking brain.
Immigrants against foreign-born, and the granting of special privileges to some sections of the working class, and the development of what Vladimir Lenin called the aristocracy of labor, led to a stratification that prevented revolution. And it ultimately led to many of the parties in the Second International becoming less and less revolutionary. The leaders of the German Social Democratic Party, the leaders of the Socialist Party of America.
I want to see where he's going with this. He's just saying the basic shit. Come on.
As some of these labor unions
Get deep, Caleb.
getting privileges for their workers and getting seats in the parliament, they got less interested in revolution.
Oh wait, I'm turning on the volume. Sorry, it's my bad. I'm fucking.
Rather than having solidarity with lower paid workers.
Black Panthers, but good luck telling them to be patriotic in an occupied neighborhood.
And so this stratification and the development of the
And white people telling our community how we need to live is easy, but you never lived in my neighborhood. See, look, there's a child of a Panthers. We're talking about the black struggle, and he mentioned that he's against patriotism, and they turn around and saying he's anti-Marxist. And my man's turning around and telling them how it is, how white people are coming and telling them, white people are telling them, wagwan, how it is. I like Marx, but not everything he has said. Engels engulfs my community. Exactly, brother, exactly. My man's got it.
It all promised they would never support capitalist or capitalist profits, workers or other workers. But when World War I broke out in August of 1914, the German Social Democratic Party supported it, the British Labour Party supported it, the French supported it, all these Marxist parties pulled out, supported the war. Their working class and brothers completed their union. Sent them off to die in World War I. It was a horrendous war. 10 million people killed. Horrendous war. Really, the British imperialists, the French imperialists, the German imperialists trying to carve up the world, divide up, colonize. Well, not all of the socialists supported World War I. Rosa Luxemburg, Germany, Rosa Luxemburg opposed World War I. She wrote a very famous pamphlet called the Junius Pamphlet, distributed all over
I've mentioned that the geezer who's fucking defending himself on his positions that he's absolutely spot on, that there's more to understanding the world as a Marxist than bombing on about Marx and his Eurocentric views.
There were various Marxists around the world who were part of these Marxist parties but refused to sell out and support the war. And one of those was the Bolsheviks, which was a revolutionary organization in Russia. They didn't support the war. They opposed World War I. The Bolsheviks were a revolutionary Marxist group in Russia that opposed the war. And in Russia, World War I led to a revolutionary crisis.
Unfortunately, on average,
revolutionary Marxist group led by Lenin became the ruling party. And the Bolsheviks had opposed the war. And they opposed imperialism. And the Bolsheviks had argued that because of the aristocracy of labor, and because of imperialism, that socialist revolutions wouldn't happen in Western Europe, happen in the developing world. Asia and Africa, Latin America, fighting for their national liberation. That's why socialism would emerge, that the emergence of the aristocracy, ratification, would lead the revolutionary energy to stop at the rather in the East. That was the understanding. So when World War I broke out, the second Bolsheviks took power, they announced they were going to start a new international, the Third International. Revolutionary, anti-imperialist, pulled out, supported with the Bolsheviks said they were going to form the Third International. Third International. Socialists, because of the fact that they wanted to be distinguished from the Social Democratic Party, they sold out. They were going to call themselves communists. Communist International. The Social Democrats. So the Third International. The Bolsheviks called themselves the Communist International. The Third International. That was the emergence of the Third International. And the Third International built a network of revolutionary anti-imperialist parties around the world that were aligned with the Soviet Union and fought against capitalism. The world Communist Party was Communist Party were opposed to imperialism, aligned with the Soviet Union. They had gatherings in Moscow. And the Communist International, the World Congress where hundreds and thousands of workers from around the world would gather for gatherings of the Communists. And that was the Third International. Parties that were aligned with the Soviet Union were anti-imperialist. The Third International, it was very confusing. And he pointed out the Third International. Big and bad. One way, and then it went another way. One way they were doing this, one day they were doing this, the next day they were doing that. Never heard of that book. Never heard of that book. Apologize for not being able to give a thorough answer to this book. I've never heard of anything. Idea.
Right. He's got such a funny voice. Read.
Third International oriented its political parties.
No.
Right. Our work day, demonstration, fight for free political prisoners, etc. But the Social Democrats, oh no, Social Democratic Party of Germany, Labour Party of Britain, the Social Democrats were much bigger. They were very anti-communist. Considered the Communist Party to be traitors. They were loyal to the Soviet Union. They were anti-imperialist, loyal to the homeland. So they went into an anti-communist frenzy. And in Germany, there were many cases where Social Democrats would kill communists. There would be massacres of communists. So the police who shot communists down in the streets would be the Social Democratic Party. In the United States, the Socialist Party leaders, that were part of the American Federation of Labor, the AFL, they banned any communists from joining the AFL. The Social Democrats were saying that our main enemy is on the left, and the Social Democrats were in an anti-communist frenzy.
Because Social Democrats are fascists.
So, the orientation of the communists were nationalists. As they said, instead of trying to build a united front with these Social Democrats who are trying to kill us, who hate us, we're going to build a united front from below. Instead of trying to unite with the Social Democratic leaders, we're going to go to the unemployed workers, to the hungry workers, to those who are desperately poor, and we're going to build new revolutionary programs.
Actually, what ended up happening with the third...
And that was their orientation.
Well,
They started calling
okay.
the Social Democrats social fascists.
Okay, with the movement that brought up against the Social Democrats with Lenin and the Third International, they didn't just go to workers. They went... I mean, they made the mistake of going to the workers at first. They went to the peasantry. It was the peasantry that they ended up going to. said to unite the proletariat with the peasantry. It was the people that were suffering the most of the peasantry. And when the 1905 incident happened, which was the start of the Russian Revolution, not 1917, there wasn't just workers at the capital, it was peasants as well, and all up in arms, ready to go.
That fought for the unemployed. And there was the bonus army, the famous bonus army that occupied Washington.
You can't call peasants unemployed. They're not in a bourgeois order. Like, does he not understand there was like fuck all workers compared to peasants in this country? Like, this would make sense for Britain, but it wouldn't make sense for where the revolution actually ended up happening. In Germany, that could make sense, yeah.
They would go to shopping areas and break open store windows and distribute.
I mean, that's what we need to do in our struggle, to be fair.
The Communist International became very much the movement of the hungry and the unemployed and the desperately poor, because the labor unions were dominated by the Social Democrats, who were the ones supporting through.
I don't think he's on to the third international yet. Oh no, they are. Yeah, it's the third international. Yeah.
They organized the unorganized, those unskilled workers that had been rejected by the Social Democratic labor unions. They organized and they fought for veterans, they fought for the hungry, and they fought for
Social Democrats still fucking crushed them.
The Communist Party very much felt that the struggle against Jim Crow segregation was necessary.
Okay, yeah, but then you guys gonna go and wave the American flag, which is offensive to not just black people but native people.
They fought for civil rights against Jim Crow segregation.
And it still exists today. Jim Crow still exists today, you cheeky cunt.
Then we had a situation where the Nazis took power in Germany and fascism was on the rise. So in 1935, we had a very historic event, the last gathering of the Communist International in Moscow, the Seventh World Congress, it was called Moscow in 1935, the Seventh World Congress. And at the Seventh World Congress, the Communist International went another way. They said it's time to have a popular front, to build a united front against fascism. Capitalism is naturally leading toward fascism, so it's going to be through defeating fascism.
Yes, he's right here.
To lead a socialist revolution. Communists must be at the center of a global struggle, a global united front against fascism. And so they switched their tactics. Rather than fighting social democrats, they did the opposite. They joined with them against the fascists, against Hitler, against Mussolini, against the fascist threat. The United States, that meant supporting Roosevelt, aligning with Roosevelt. Britain had aligning with the Labour Party. Spain, communists from all over the world went to Spain to fight against the fascists. And the Communist International, while it existed, it zigged and zagged. And why was that? The Trotskyites made fun of it. They had all kinds of stupid songs making fun of the Communist International. They're zigging and zagging. They had united front, say, what we want, our lines going to change. From below, from above, our lines going to change. I know the crowded. I know the crowded.
I wonder if it's projection at this point, the way he's singing this.
They're making fun of the fact that the Communist International's policies shifted. But why did they shift?
Because of opportunism.
The world situation has changed.
No.
Tactics must also change.
Oh, if you're on about the shift to fight fascism, yeah, sure, but the Soviet Union was doing well to survive amongst the sea of capitalism.
As World War II was going on, I'm really glad you like that book, I'll write that down. As World War II was going on, it became clear that
Takes note of his fucking most devoted followers. Keep a good check on them.
dissolved the Communist Stalin, Soviet Union, other communist parties, they dissolved it. And when the Communist International was dissolved, Mao said it was a good thing. He said the Communist Party had not been listening to the Communist International for years, been doing its own thing. And that the Communist parties of the world had grown up, and they could make necessary to have the communist anymore. It wasn't necessary to have one global organization directly. And there was something called the Communist Information Bureau. The Communist Information. Communist. I'm going to go a little bit further as the Cold War went on. There was a big split between China and the Soviet Union. So all over the world, there were a number of communist parties that were anti-religion party, rather than following.
Ooh. What's it? This was about the Pragester, but what's it? We got caught up because I found out that Caleb was streaming. Just let's see what she's talking about. I'm hoping he gets further on because
They consider that it is not their business. They're not spreading communist revolution. They're engaging in peaceful trade, cooperation. They're not trying to spread communist revolution. They have like sister parties. There's a lot of Trotskyites. They're still around. There's Trotskyite parties. There's a lot of
other people are hearing
a
this.
lot of confusion. And I argue, in my position in all of this is why I'm telling you about this history, is I argue that we do not need another country. That we do not need to fit ourselves into the intricate debate. Are you a Trotskyist? Are you a Maoist? Are you a Marxist? That rather, we need to study all of these currents of leftism and blindly follow none of them. And that we need an eclectic, non-revisionist, revolutionary, we need an eclectic socialism that is unique and will address our current circumstances. And that we need to get out of the mindset that revolutionary parties have to have a family tree. You have to be able to trace your organization back to Karl Marx. Rather, we need socialist principles, socialist concepts to be widely studied. And we need to develop a program to implement socialism. A program to implement socialism.
Program.
An economic program.
An economic program.
And develop an anti-imperialist socialist program and build a movement around that program. Well, it's a mistake that you need to stop viewing communism like a religion. Right? Every Methodist will tell you where the Methodist came from. Church from this church, from that church, from the Catholic church. And that we need to stop viewing it this way. Right? But rather we need to view socialism as a tool. Socialism is a method for raising countries up out of poverty.
It's a socio-economic society.
But there are different ways of implementing it. There are different ways of implementing socialism. And we should study all of the attempts to build socialism around the world. And that is how we need to move forward. I jokingly tell people we need to become non-denominational communists. We need to study all of it, but blindly follow none of it. and that we need to develop a program, policies that we are for, rather than being able to trace a family tree of who you descended from, who you split from, that is my position. And that's why I'm going
ML is the true center. You see the types of people he attracts.
Declared to be, well, this party, so Caleb used to be in this party split from that party, and people would start doing my family tree, and I don't want to organize that way. I don't want to be part of this family tree, because this family tree isn't going to work, right? What's going to work is a socialist program. What's going to work is genuine anti-imperialism. What's going to work is being a factory of ideas that will stimulate conversation. That is what is needed. And we need to know all this history. We need to study the history of the Korean War. We need to study the history of anarchism, the history of Trotskyism, the history of Maoism, the history of social democracy, the history of anarchism, Bolivarianism, Ba'athist era social. We need to study all of this and develop a program. That is my argument. We need to be non-denominational, and we need to get beyond. I love what you said. Thank you, Kristen. Appreciate that. We need to get beyond the religious and dogmatic aspects of our movement so that we can construct a genuine program using the science, not the dogma, but the science that has been laid out by those who came before us, and viewing socialism as a tool rather than as a doctrine or a dogma. That is my position. So that's what I wanted to share with you in my opening remarks. I've got plenty of super chats here to answer, but keep them rolling in, as always. And I will call you out as I see you. Names and locations, folks. Names and locations. Let's do our roll call. Who's with us tonight? Names and locations. Who's with us? Names and locations. Scotland. California, Dylan. Amazing opening. Ramsey. Controversy Machine. Chaya in Montreal. Cleveland Pirate Alex. Stephen in Riverside. Emma from Ontario, Canada. Tulare, California. Petty in Southern California.
That'd be the funny.
Johnny in Philly. Kieran from San Diego. Lila in Dallas. Springfield, Missouri. Ross in Dublin. Northern California, New Jersey. Zephyr from Eugene, Oregon. Pomona, California. Gamer, Holly, Wisconsin. Northern
Britain.
California. Tucson,
See if he says it.
Arizona,
See if he does it.
Pennsylvania, said Troy. Okay. Kinky is here. Zach in Seattle. Steven in Seattle. Mindanao to Midwest, Olympiologic, good friend of the program. Nate in Chicago, great stream. South Korea, Clydebank, Mexico City. Ramsey in Cincinnati, Ohio. Enoch in Australia. Don in New York City. Los Angeles. Deborah Wilson in Napa. Shout out to you, Deborah, good friend of the program.
Napa.
Egan in Minnesota.
But we're reaching the end of this one, boys. Unfortunately, no spicy takes other than his take on.
Hello, Mark from California. Shout out to you, Mark. Mo in Toronto.
He's not. I think he's gone past it. He didn't do the Britain. I was hoping he'd do it.
New York, Flushing, Northern Ireland, Kristen Nye, Tennessee, Corona, California, Manhattan, Sam in Australia, Tokyo, Japan, Kendall from San Diego, Alberta, Old Gringo in Kansas City, Joshua Tree, California, Kinky, Vinicius from Brazil, Ben from the Workers' Party of Edinburgh, the Swan, Switzerland,
Edinburgh.
Houston, Captain Waffles, all right, Mosin from Iran, Ali from Northern Ireland, Reese from Adelaide, Australia, Micah from Las Vegas, Alan in Chicago, Hurricane, Carolyn Dario with Tamara from Brooklyn, Raging Cajun from Woodlands, Texas, Frank from Rhode Island, J224 Mississippi, Captain Waffles from Treasure Coast, Florida, China.
Oh, come on, do the funny, please. Don't make me waste my time.
Arizona, Leipzig, East Germany.
I'm wasting my time.
Thank you, Mr. Red. Gamer for Life, Austin, Texas. Neil Frazier out in Hong Kong. Shout out to you, Neil. Welcome. Detroit, Nashville, Tennessee. Wandering Left, Meredith, the Old Gringo. Shout out to you. Harold, Naples, Florida. Alberto and Javier in Miami, Florida. Fort Lauderdale. Daniel in Seattle. Shout out to all of you. Wow. Bendigo, Australia. David Fox is here. Welcome, welcome. Julian from Southeast United Kingdom, welcome Julian. Calgary,
Ah,
Canada.
you didn't do it, you prick. He didn't do the funny. I put Britain, and he didn't even say it. He didn't even correct it into Britain. He just fucking went past it, the slimy little prick. Gotta do the funny, Caleb. You gotta have a sense of humor, man. Oh, well, this ended up being a waste of time on the end of the stream, but I'm sure someone might end up enjoying it. I mean, he did have his little spicy take where he goes on about how there doesn't need to be another international and how we need to look at Marxism, but not follow any of it and take the concepts and do reformism. Beautiful. So the great, wise, revolutionary words of Caleb is do the reformism. This has been funny. What's it? Well, I guess that is the fucking, what's it? I guess that's the end of that one. I think I'll probably sign off on this one. Adios. We'll see you all later. Red salute.